Everybody wants progress until it requires participation. Everybody wants change until it requires responsibility. And everybody has something to say until it's time to step up to the plate and actually do something.
Empowering you to live a life fully charged. This is 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life with L.J. Tucker.
Welcome to 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. This is not about motivation that fades. This is about activation that transforms. This is about raising your voltage, raising your standard, and stepping into the life you were created to live. Today, we're talking about something that shows up everywhere: church, family, business, neighborhoods, boards, organizations, and even your own house. It's called the 80-20 rule. Not the way you hear it in business books. We're talking about real life. 80% of the people are watching, complaining, criticizing, and stirring up that pot, just churning it up. And 20% of the people are building, sacrificing, leading, and carrying the weight. And here's the part that most people don't want to admit. The 80% don't just sit back quietly. They sit on the sidelines with that bat in their hand, waiting to tear something down, anything. And the 20%, they try to build. They won't volunteer. They won't step into leadership. They won't join a board. They won't take any responsibilities. But they will show up with their opinions, unsolicited opinions at that. They'll find faults. They will question every decision. They'll stir that pot. They'll just stir that pot right on up and create division. And then they'll sit back and watch what happens. This is the reality that destroys progress in churches, in families, in communities, and in business. Not a lack of ideas, but an environment that pushes the people who bring them. There's a difference between being connected and being energized. A lot of people are connected to environments, but they're not adding energy to them. They're draining them. They are low voltage. And I'm quite confident that we all familiar with low voltage is, especially when that phone's about to die. It tells you 20%, you ignore it the first time. But when it hit that 10%, we do some crazy things when that battery's about to die on that phone, our lifeline. But that's kind of low voltage I'm talking about, the one that's inside of us, the low voltage people that don't bring it, just like a low battery on your cell phone. Low voltage people don't build, they break. They don't lead, they question, they don't sacrifice, they observe. And over time, if you're not careful, that energy becomes contagious. You start to think that it's normal. You start to think that that's just how people are. You start to lower your own expectations and your own output because you're surrounded by people who are doing just enough to stay involved, but not enough to make an impact. Ask yourself, are you that kind of person? Are you part of the 80% or are you part of that 20%? Because the 20% live different. The 20% understand something that the 80% ignore. Progress always has a cost. Leadership always has a weight. Building something always requires sacrifice. The 20% are the ones who show up early. They stay late. They're the ones who take responsibilities when things go wrong. They're the ones who step into roles nobody else wants. They're the ones who keep moving. They keep moving forward even when they're being criticized by other people who have never built anything themselves. But they got something to say. Like they're the smartest person in the room. And they're not. And this is where the tension shows up. Because the moment you decide to become part of the 20%, you become visible. And when you become visible, you become a target for the 80%. Oh, they got something to say, either whether it's on social media or it's through a group chat. They got something to say. They can't rub 50 cents together to help do anything. They won't volunteer their time, but they'll sit back and hide behind their posts. They may even send you a text or two to discourage you, not to encourage you. And that's the only time you're going to hear from them, to tell you, oh, if I was you, I wouldn't do that. I wish it was the other way around, but I don't create things. It's just not my rule. It's just a true hidden fact. And I think I did an episode on this before, but it hit so heavy on my heart, I wanted to do it again, the 80-20 rule. Let's bring this into a real story. There was a time in my life when I stepped into a space that needed leadership. Working at McDonald's at 16. I remember this story vivid like it was yesterday. I started off washing dishes at McDonald's, and I learned to grill. And at certain times of the day, it gets extremely busy. And there's a protocol at McDonald's, they call it the grill area. You have a person stand right here at the ticket thing that prints off somebody's order. I want a plain hamburger. I want a hamburger ketchup only. And they have a headset on. So not only can you hear in your ear what these people are ordering, you see it on the screen that's above you. In the protocol, I must admit, the protocol says wait for the ticket. That was hard for me to do if I had on headphones. Because if I have the headphones on, I'm not waiting for that ticket to print. I'm yelling it out. Hey, I just got 10 plain hamburgers. Drop my burgers. And, I'm like, hey, I got 3 hamburgers. Only onions and ketchup. Like whatever the order was, I stepped into that role because we were getting cussed out because the line was long. And I'm losing it. I'm a 16-year-old kid, but I get it. I'm like, why are you waiting for this thing to print? Start calling this stuff out. Call it out. And so we took a line that was wrapped around the building. I just took the headsets from the kid and I just started yelling the stuff out. And we got it. We got the line down quickly because I took on the leadership role. And that continued to happen. Before you know it, at 16, I've been training for a lead manager because of my leadership ability at 16. And guess what? The older people didn't like it. I'm still in high school, by the way, at the time, and the older people didn't like it. Oh, he doesn't follow the rules. He doesn't do this. They found every excuse in the world. But guess what? The managers didn't get in trouble for long wait times in the drive-thru because this is how you lose your job. When people are complaining that the orders, we went to the drive-thru, we want our food, and we're waiting 15 minutes for a hamburger plain because people couldn't do their job. So I stepped up in that situation. And there's plenty other times outside of that situation where I stepped up in a leadership role. Not because I had all the answers, not because it was convenient, but because I understood something. It was something that needed to be done. And you see it, and you might be the one assigned to it, but when you see it, you respond. At first it was quiet. People watched, people observed, and then as soon as movement started, as soon as change started, as soon as structure started forming, the noise came. But this is how changes are implemented. In fact, in today's world, I operate a lot of steel equipment. They're not paying me to say that. I just think they have really good chainsaws. And because of it, I've became a prototype tester for their saws. And what that means is when they got a new model coming out, they needed somebody to test them. How my name got through into the ranks, I don't know, but it did. And so I started testing their saws, making them fail, showing them where they can do better to make a better chainsaw on that particular model. And I did that about 3 years, and it was fabulous. And, we had a good working relationship, and there was some perks that came along with it at the time. And questions, doubts, and criticism always make you take a pause. Why are we doing it like that? Why are we doing it like that? That's not how it's supposed to be done. I don't think that's going to work. That's what the 80% is always going to say. With no research, with no data, they're going to question it because it wasn't their idea. In fact, the 80%, a lot of them really don't have any substance of ideas because they're always sitting back seeing who they can tear down and who they can criticize. And here's what I noticed. The same people who had the loudest opinions are the same ones who never slow down, and they never slow down to help. They can see you trying to get over in a traffic lane. They'll speed up to keep you and keep you from getting over. I see it all the time, especially when I'm driving one of the big trucks. I have to pray for peace because, I have to turn into a bully at times on the road, especially I know my turn is coming up. So I put the blinker on, and because I'm in a bigger truck or one of my trucks with a long trailer, people, they'll just speed up. At some point after the 10th car, you're like, you know what? Let me get my tail end over there first. Whoop, whoop. And then, of course, that one person, they see what's going on. They rather honk their horn and shoot you the middle finger instead of letting you over. That's the 80% of people. They don't see or look for ways, how can I help? How can I be a high voltage and help somebody versus finding a reason to shoot them the middle finger. They never volunteer. They never join the effort. They never carry responsibilities, but they always have something to say, whether they're speaking sign language with the middle finger or they're laying on the horn for no reason. They got that baseball bat mentality, just ready to attack. I was reading a story earlier, and it's happened here in Florida, down in Palm Beach. This guy followed this guy up the turnpike. He's a FedEx worker. He wasn't in his FedEx work truck yet, so he followed him into a secure location, and he said, "Man, you swiped me. You hit me. You tried to run me off the road." Dude said, "Hey, listen, I apologize, but I don't know what you're talking about." And so the guy just kept going. So he got in his truck and he moved to the other side of the parking lot. And so then the guy pulled up behind him again, blocked him in, and got in his face. So either the guy that worked for FedEx, either he picked up a brick and said, "Hey, let me man, I'm coming to work. Leave me alone." Guy took out his gun and emptied the clip in him. Police was called. The guy wound up dying at the hospital. And of course, we know the story. What the guy said, "Oh, I was defending myself." And the police said that defense might have would have worked if he didn't follow him to a secure location. He threw his life away for no reason. All because somebody cut you off, so you had to follow him to work and shoot him. You just could have just let that roll off your back and keep moving. So what, you're gonna get cut off, people. You start being a part of that 80%, you want to be right. Now you just took somebody's life and you just impacted your life, because now you can probably be locked up for the rest of your life. And now your family has to deal with this, and the person's life that you took, family has to deal with your bad decision over what? You're going to get there. It's not that serious. And because if you're not grounded, it will discourage you. It will make you second guess yourself. It will make you question whether it's even worth it. You have to have that check balance where is my thinking or behavior based on fact. Because here's the truth. Every builder faces critics. Every leader faces resistance. Every person who steps into purpose will be challenged by people who are not comfortable staying where they are. So the question is not whether criticism will come. The question is, how will you respond to it? Do you stop building? Do you shrink back? Do you lower your standard? Or do you stay focused and keep moving? Living an electrified life means you don't operate at the level of the crowd. You operate at a higher frequency. You understand that not every voice deserves your attention. You understand that not every opinion deserves your response. You learn how to filter noise, stay locked in on your purpose. Because if you allow the 80% to control the environment, nothing will ever grow. Ideas will die before they're even tested. Leaders will burn out before they reach the potential, and progress will stall because the wrong voices are the loudest ones in the room. Now let's bring this into your life. Look at your circle. Look at your environment. In your family, who is building and who is complaining? In your church, who is serving and who is stirring that pot? In your business, who is solving problems and who is creating where do you fall? Because it's easy to point at the 80%. It's easy to say that it's them. But if we're honest, we'll all had moments where we slipped into that mindset. Moments that we criticized something we didn't fully understand. Moments where we spoke on something we weren't willing to help with. Moments where we sat back instead of stepping up. This is your voltage check. You know, I had to check myself a few times on this. And so it's refreshing to be able to share it with you, because I had to overcome these things, and I'm still overcoming these things. I'm not perfect at this moment in time as we speak, because I still make mistakes. I still get caught up in the moment, but I get caught up in less of the moment, less times than more, because I'm living that electrified life. Are you adding energy or draining it? Are you building or breaking? Are you contributing or complaining? Because you can't live an electrified life with a low voltage mindset. You can't create impact while you're operating in comfort. You can't build something meaningful while you're consistently tearing down what others are trying to do. At some point, you have to make a decision to stop watching, to stop complaining, and stop swinging at everything that moves and start to build. Start contributing, to start carrying responsibility. Because here's what I know. The world doesn't change because of the majority. It changes because of the committed few, the builders, the leaders, the ones that's willing to sacrifice. And those people don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for full support. They don't wait for approval from people who will never intend to help them. They move away. They build away. They stay focused anyway. That's 7,000 volts. That's electrified living. It's not easy, but it's not comfortable, but it's powerful. So the next time you see something that needs to be done, don't reach for the bat. Please don't reach for that bat. Put that bat down. Don't look for the faults, and don't stir that pot up. Step up. Add the value that's needed. Step aside and let the builders build, because at the end of the day, you're going to be remembered for one or two things: what you build or what you try to tear down. Make your choice and stay electrified. God bless.
This has been 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life, available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. For more information, visit us on the web at ljtucker.com. Remember, stay electrified.